Hi, and welcome to the latest in a series of Plimsoll webinars. Now, finding growth in this increasingly fragmented and foggy period economically is proven a challenge for many of the clients that we speak to. What we're saying to everyone right now is it's important to closely monitor your own position and keep an eye, a much closer eye on those that you compete with. Now, between the inflationary pressures, Brexit, the seemingly endless line of political and economic mishaps that are affecting Britain in particular, but to some extent the wider global economy. Within that context, information is power. In economic times such as these, opportunities and threats are constantly evolving. Only those pre-prepared and armed with the best intel can make the most of the former and minimise the latter. So with that in mind, we've put together this special webinar to discuss the importance of assessing key strategic options as we do navigate this economic turbulence. And we'd also like to show you how Plimsoll can take a lot of the legwork out of doing some of this planning and maintaining that level of research that you need to do this to do the job effectively. So without further ado, welcome to Plimsoll's latest webinar. Now, we're going to examine the key reasons why every business owner or board of directors should maintain an acquisition list. What's more, we want to explore how maintaining such a list should be a 10-minute, once-a-month task rather than an expensive and often frustrating search that takes months and soaks up both your human and your financial resources that could be employed elsewhere. So the volume of mergers and acquisitions really could explode over the next couple of years. It's a real perfect storm. Now, markets are awash with distressed companies that clung on through the pandemic and they emerged from that very weak. And then others have rebuilt the balance sheets and now sit on a pile of cash waiting to invest. For others, Brexit has been the straw that finally broke the camel's back and they're looking for a way out. And then finally, there's a lot of businesses out there with an aging board who just don't have the energy to rebuild after the storm of the last 3 or 4 years. In all, Plimsoll's analysis of thousands of industries, 1 in 5 companies that we assess are now suffering from financial weakness. How many of those companies will have the appetite to rebuild, or could they look to cash out, while there's still time? Likewise, a lot of companies that we speak to are keen to make up for the lost time of the last few years and get back to growth as quickly as possible. Now, a strategic acquisition is always going to be the easiest way to add growth to a business after such a tumultuous trading period. Sectors such as food and engineering in particular are those that we would say that you need to watch out for, with 54% and 51% of companies respectively ripe for takeover in those markets, according to our latest research. In the UK, there's also further demand for M&A targets coming from overseas. There's still, even now, around $17 trillion worth of excess money that was poured into the global economy during the pandemic that's got to go somewhere. With the British pound still to recover any of its post-Brexit fall, the UK really is a shopper's paradise for overseas investors looking for cheap deals to acquire, famed British expertise, particularly in IT and engineering, and to pick up, for want of a better phrase, old world brand names, traditional brand names that still hold sway around the world. How many quintessentially British companies will fall under overseas control in the next 12 months? Our prediction is, a considerable number. So a merger and acquisition storm is brewing, and that's why we recommend that every company, no matter your industry or where you are on your own M&A journey, should build and maintain an acquisitions list. Even if you've no intention of buying another company at the moment, build and maintain a list. If you don't buy them, somebody else will. How will that affect you? How will that affect your position in the market? So I'm going to now take you briefly through the core reasons why we recommend every company maintains this list, the consequences of failing to do so, and the process and how and why the process is a lot easier than you might imagine. Reason 1, monitoring the competition. The first reason to maintain an acquisition list is to monitor those companies in your key markets whose fortunes are most closely aligned to your own. So essentially, your key rivals. If one of them fails, it opens a significant opportunity for you. If you were to buy them, you would increase your share of the market and eliminate a rival in one go. If you don't buy them, you're going to have to beat them. So maintaining an acquisition list on just your key rivals allows you a few key competitive advantages, such as being able to monitor their performance and see if you are gaining or losing ground on them. See who might buy them if you don't. For example, if one of your rivals were to be bought out by another, how would that affect your own standing in the market? Would you be more vulnerable to this new larger group? You'd be able to identify who you might target as you seek market share. If you have growth plans for the next 5 years, would acquiring a competitor be viable, and who fits that bill? It allows you to be prepared to act quickly if word gets round that they're considering a sale. The old saying goes, once a company's for sale, it's too late. But you can at least make sure that you're in a position to move instantly if a company comes to market. It gives you the edge, you're pre-prepared. And finally, it lets you to stay alert to who might be eyeing you. If a competitor is bought out, it's fairly likely that their acquirer could be stalking you as a similar option. So an acquisition list is not solely for acquiring a business. It's for understanding the consequences of someone else acquiring within your immediate environment and the consequences of you not acting. How would it affect you if a closer competitor were acquired by a larger group with very deep pockets? Could you have acted earlier to prevent such a threat to your own existence? Plimsoll provides a range of tools to allow you to build and then maintain your own list of acquisition options and outcomes. We can help you distill entire industries or even sectors down into manageable groups of companies and targets. We can even expand your view over related industries and other territories. The upshot is, with Plimsoll's help, you can build and maintain your list in minutes rather than months. Reason 2, it makes your own business more valuable. How does having an acquisition list make your own business more valuable to prospective buyers? Now, that's a question that we get asked a lot. But imagine just for a second, if you can present any potential suitors with a post-acquisition path to additional growth and additional opportunities after they've bought your business. An overseas or out of industry buyer particular, but even someone within your market would certainly be more impressed with, the confidence they have that they're buying a company with a diligent, forward-looking structure in place. The impression that there are further options for additional growth in the future, and that the overall value of the package you are offering to potential suitors has a capacity for growth in the future. Now, most of you are probably not considering selling your business over the immediate future. But there are huge benefits to having a list of potential targets and ensuring it's maintained over a number of years. These include monitoring prospects in your list that get sold, what's happening to business values in your market, demonstrating what your business could be worth if you executed an acquisition strategy and giving credence to the suggestions that you put into potential suitors, and highlighting potential suitors the appetite within your market for acquisitions and how your business could be worth a premium to get that deal done quickly. So if you're succession planning, for example, and selling is the ultimate aim, maintaining a list of related companies you could buy is a perfect way to position your business as the option of choice. Plimsoll can provide you with an instant means of isolating the best options to add to your acquisition list. With a subscription to Plimsoll, you'll be able to pick out those you're already aware of and to flesh out your list with those that aren't necessarily in your immediate view. With complete market and sectoral coverage, you can be sure the acquisition list that you build and are maintaining is the most appropriate and the most comprehensive possible. Reason 3, fix your dependencies. Now, some of you attending today will have fallen foul of a key market being shuttered during the pandemic, I'm sure, over the last few years. Others will have had to stop selling into the EU because as it becomes increasingly clear that the UK didn't actually hold all the cards, we didn't hold them at all, and access to your largest export market is completely gone. Some may have lost a huge chunk of the revenue if one or two large customers that made up a disproportionate chunk of their business changed their plans or themselves got into trouble and shut off that whale client. Elsewhere, how many of you have fallen foul of supply chain issues recently? If a key supplier can't provide something mission critical, it's a huge undertaking to source alternatives with the same quality, same reliability, same price. Where still, everyone is now competing for the same resources and driving up those costs. So supply chain crises, unfortunately, would appear to be here to stay, certainly over the medium term. And that's especially problematic if you're operating a just-in-time production business. So how does keeping an acquisition list help to fix your dependencies? Well, if you're selling into too narrow a market or you have too few large customers, you have two choices. You find a new market or you're buying the expertise with a strategic acquisition to pivot. The former is expensive, risky, and more likely to fail as you're competing with existing, more experienced providers. Whereas acquiring an established competitor means you're buying additional expertise, you're buying an alternative customer list, and potentially you're penetrating new markets that you don't currently serve, diversifying your business basically. So maintaining an acquisition list of your key competitors will allow you to instantly assess a few key things, including, which competitors and potential targets are gaining the most market share, who the best targets are in other higher growth sectors, which companies you could acquire simply to eliminate competition and take on their order book. Is the value in the business, but then what are the risks and what's the balance between the two? If another competitor were acquired, would that threaten your dependencies further as you compete for business with the resulting larger group? And basically, are you ready to act before everyone else should an opportunity arise? Now, one of the key lessons of the pandemic, particularly, but certainly the post-pandemic economy, has been the need to fix your dependencies. Buying up a competitor is just one option to minimise your risk. But what about your value chain? If your business model is dependent on a single or small group of suppliers, the impact of their health on your own is profound. Maintain an acquisition list of companies that you rely on. Well, that allows you to look for alternatives. It empowers your position and reduces your risk. If you know all the alternate suppliers that can feed into your ecosystem, you can assess their long-term stability. Is one of the key cogs in your supply chain today more and more vulnerable? Is there an opportunity downstream? Buying a supplier offers a wealth of opportunities, including open up new revenue streams in markets you don't currently serve. It also allows you in economies of scale of having a vital supply route in-house. It secures your supply chain, which in the current economic climate is important, but also it can often disrupt competing firms. And you can be ready to act quickly. As mentioned earlier, speed is key in any acquisition. You've got to be ready to act before a company comes up for sale, or certainly be the first to act if and when it does. It allows you to avoid that bidding war scenario if you can move swiftly down the buying process and be a preferred bidder. Working with Plimsoll, we can help you to assess all of your options in mere minutes. Whether it's to build a list of rivals that, should you acquire, would reduce your risk and increase your standing in the key market, or that you're looking to buy up or down your supply chain, we can give you the tools to keep a live, ready-to-act list of options. While the rest of your competitors are relying on a myriad of complex data sources, we can show you your options and alert you to the new opportunities, leaving you and your team literally free to focus on business and execution. Reason 4, it's time to think strategically. You might have come into this session with no real plans for acquisitions, just mildly intrigued. Others of you might be deep into your planning stage already. As the world recovers from the pandemic and then obviously the supply and the inflation crisis that we're going through now, it's time to think strategically. The best companies, and certainly those that buy other companies, think strategically. They think proactively. They're constantly reviewing their strategy to react to changes in circumstance and opportunity. If you're not thinking strategically about acquisitions, many of your competitors are. They are. We talk to them all the time. And when they act, you could get caught out. The reality of acquisitions and buying another company is that the best targets are rarely for sale. When a company eventually goes up for sale, it's often in distress. It's too late. The good targets that do come up for sale, they often spark a feeding frenzy and they drive up the price that precludes quite a lot of other companies. The best acquirers don't wait. They maintain a rolling list of targets and they make an approach before anybody else even knows there's an opportunity out there. Building and maintaining a list of your best targets, even if you're not planning to buy soon, it just makes good business sense. Imagine having a list of companies that you can monitor over several years. Keeping that list allows you to spot the best targets that fit your current business financially. Allows you to pick out those that are fast growing and time your capture before they become too big. Allows you to be ready to pounce if a competitor moves in on one of your targets. You can add and remove targets when new opportunities arrive on the scene. A list has got to be live. It can't be allowed to go stale because the good targets 2 years ago are probably not targets now or might have been bought. It allows you to spot targets that get into difficulty and might be open to a lower offer. It allows you, above all else, to time your moves correctly so you pick the right company at the right time and at the right price for your own business. So buying the right business takes more than a brief search or a recommendation from a third party. Choosing the best fit and timing it correctly takes a more in-depth understanding of every option and being ready to act when opportunity knocks. Maintaining a live acquisition list means you understand the company you're looking at before you move to the expense of due diligence and uncomfortable conversations. So Plimsoll can help you build your list of targets across multiple industries, multiple sectors, and even multiple countries. What's more, we can ensure your list is up to date, continuously reviewed. You can add new options, and targets that no longer meet your needs you can remove. Now we can help you do all of that with minimal fuss, no hassle, and really for less than you might think. Reason 5, it's just never been easier. Historically, acquisition deals have often been based on nothing more technical than a conversation on a golf course or a recommendation from an accountant or a lawyer. As such, many deals end up falling through or going sour post-acquisition as due diligence failed to spot a mismatched company or one that's been plumped for sale and the skeletons fell out the cupboard pretty soon after the ink had dried on the contract. At Plimsoll, we believe every company should maintain an acquisition list. Whether you're planning on buying the next 6 months or haven't even considered it at all, the premise remains the same. Monitoring targets over a longer period of time and searching across as broad a spectrum as possible adds to your competitive advantage and it really avoids those costly errors. Historically, there was a valid excuse that this was long-winded, costly, took up too much of your resource. Now, Plimsoll believes that the process of building and maintaining a list of potential acquisition targets should be accessible to every business. It should be cost-effective. It should be manageable in minutes. Now, we offer several services that are industry-specific, and interactive analyses allow you to filter entire industries down to 10, 20, 30 maybe targets that absolutely match your own criteria. Right through down to, we even offer bespoke consultative services. The latter will see you working with a consultant here to develop a criterion, and then we can build you a highly targeted list across all criteria. But we have thousands of industry-specific industry assessments that will let you filter down industries of choice, filter down by region, by size, by performance metrics. Now, an acquisition list maintained and monitored on an ongoing basis is becoming one of the key parts of a strong, forward-looking company's arsenal. Now, I'd just like to share with you a very quick video that will demonstrate how Plimsoll's reducing this key exercise from expensive months to almost effortless minutes. So I hope today's webinar has highlighted the importance of maintaining an acquisition list, whatever stage you are in your own M&A and strategic journey. If you'd like to find more about the number of opportunities meet your acquisition criteria, we're offering all attendees a completely free, personalised M&A insight report on the industry of choice. Just tell us the industry you're most interested in, and our team will put together and send across a free insight report on that, just looking at the number of companies that are right for takeover, the number of premium targets there are, and a few other bits of information. If you prefer to speak to one of our team here about building your own list and the services that we offer, just give us a call on 01642 626 400. But in the meantime, thank you for attending and good luck building your own list. Cheers.